Hello. So in this week I'm gonna show you something very interesting. Um, I thought um, this was something I thought we could encounter during this gameplay, and yes, as I guessed, we are gonna encounter this so-called problem, but it's kind of fun. So let's see what it is. So, as you can maybe see now, suddenly the amount of gold I have is something negative, which doesn't make sense at all, right? So, in the previous day, yesterday, I had something like 1,800,000,000 gold, okay? And in this week, I have two treasure buildings in 2 ramparts, which means 20% interest. And when you add that, normally I was supposed to have something like 360 million more gold. But instead, I have minus 2 billion something gold. So how does this happen? Those of you who are familiar with computer science, I think you already know the answer, but basically the thing is, for those who are not familiar with computer science, this problem is occurred because the number of gold you have, amount of gold you have, is kept as a 32-bit signed integer by the game. It is kept as a 32-bit signed integer in the memory of the game. So normally, if you have 32 bits, the number of different numbers you can represent is simply 2 to the power of 32, which is something like 4 billion and stuff. So basically, you can represent 4 billion different integers with 32 bits, right? In binary, of course. Which means if you start from 0, the maximum integer you can represent is 2 to the power of 32 minus 1. Okay. But if you also want to represent negative integers, what you generally do is you allocate half of these bit configurations to the negative numbers. So you start from minus 2 to the power of 31 all the way up to plus 2 to the power of 31 minus 1. Okay. And in this case, the maximum number you can represent is 2 to the power of 31 minus 1, which is something like 2 billion. Okay. If you exceed that, if you try to represent something larger than that, what happens is the number overflows and the most significant bit, the supposedly 33rd bit, is discarded because you don't have a 33rd bit. You only have 32 bits, and the remaining bits basically they correspond to a negative number. This is what happened in the game. The amount of gold we have exceeded 2 to the power of 31 minus 1, and the number overflowed, and we end up with having something negative. Okay. Interestingly, I noticed the game has somehow a method of detecting this error. As you can see here, I suddenly received 2 billion something gold, such that now I have 0 gold. Okay, instead of a negative number. And this happens along with this regular event, as you know, 30 archangels at every day 3 of week 3 of each month. So now we have 0 gold, and I think somehow the game or the developers were aware of this possible problem, and when they detected, they simply give you some gold so that you can have 0 gold and you can start over saving your gold. But I do wonder what would happen if we finish the week with a negative amount of gold, and in the end we have some interest rate, you know. Probably the interest rate would add up something negative to the amount of gold we have. So instead of increasing our gold, it would decrease our gold even more. Anyway, so this was something fun, I guess. Now I have to save some gold again, and I simply sell all my wood and stone and easily have 4 million gold. But I lost 2 days because with negative amount of gold I won't be able to buy anything basically. No creatures I can buy, nothing I can do. Maybe I could have brought yoke to here beforehand to gain some time. But that's no big deal. Okay, so the last week we had practice of money. Even only the gold coming from the interest rates of the ramparts, it was like hundreds of millions of gold. And now again we have a very few amount of gold, only 4 million. And we are gonna spend most of them at the next week when it is time to buy creatures. Seal won't make it. She won't be able to buy all the creatures. Maybe Gem can buy her creatures thanks to the town portal. Yeah, I think she's gonna make it. And I can't come here. Okay. So this was it. We had much more money than we can spend, and it overflowed. But somehow the game detected this and gave us kind of a compensation, and it looks like everything's back to normal. This is 4 million indeed. Now there is no hidden digit. This is all I have. Okay. Thank you for watching.